We're going to start this morning by hearing from Major General Peter Carey, who is the LG here at the hospital, and it's he who shared our vision for Chelsea Auto Legends. This is now our third year, and we're absolutely beholden to him for the show being here. And I'd like him to say a couple of words.
Ladies and gentlemen, Max and Scotty, I share their vision. Well, what actually happened was that 3 years ago I came home, popped in from work to my house and found Max and Scotty sitting with my wife having a chat over a cup of coffee. And I think that from that moment on, I listened to what they had to say and I felt committed to this exciting project. And it's a huge pleasure to welcome Auto Legends back here for the third year in a row. We've had 2 years, 2 good years, and I now feel we're just stepping up a level and there's much more interest in it. So it's a fantastic opportunity. Here in Chelsea, we like to think that we do the best of the best. We've got the best veterans in the world here in Chelsea, the gentlemen in scarlet, some of whom will be coming out later. We have the best car show in the world. That's the last one. We have the best flower show in the world, which has just finished last week. We next have Masterpiece London, which is the best art and antiques fair in the United Kingdom, and I'm sure that in years to come it will overtake Maastricht and be the best in the world as well. And now we have the best classic car show in the world. I say classic cars because that's what I'm told to say. I don't know really one end of a car from another, particularly myself, but they look very beautiful and a lot of people get excited about them. And actually an awful lot of our Chelsea pensioners love seeing the cars here as well, and you might have noticed a whole stream of them coming out this morning and having a look around. And the opportunity to meet people like Stirling Moss, which they did last year and the year before, was quite fantastic for them. So it's a huge pleasure. And there's a fourth best of the best, and Scotty, you will insist that I say this, the best cookbook in the world as well, which my wife produced, and you can all take one when you leave here on payment and give it to your favourite mother-in-law. And there's everything in there from Boris Johnson's cheese on toast to the Duke of Edinburgh's stuffed rice with haggis. So there we are. I'm delighted to have you back again this year.
Thank you very much, Peter. He's stolen all my thunder. You won't believe this, but 71 years ago, I was born in Smith Street. So I've never been very far away from the hospital. I've admired what happens here all my life. I still live just off the King's Road, at the World's End, which is not so posh as up here. But this place has always been a place that I've loved and respected and admired. My job was to get this event here, and this cookery book is the reason we're here. And last year we sold 15 copies of this for £15. Every penny goes to the pensioners, and this was produced by Peter's wife Angela, who may be hiding with her grandson, maybe she isn't. And this was the inspiration that I got to come and see her and sell her the idea, or propose the idea of having an event here. So thanks to Angela and Peter that we are here. I have to thank enormously our sponsors, EFG, Castrol and John D. Wood. Without them we would be struggling, but thanks to them we're here, and as I'm sure you can see, this is, as the General said, an amazing turnout of cars and a great collection of you guys from the press. I'm happy to say that we will have Derek Bell here as our head chief guest at the event, who, as you all know, is probably the iconic British racing driver at Le Mans. So that's all I have to say, apart from please buy copies of the book, and I shall monitor the sales, and have a very good morning.
Next year we hear from Lord Drayson, who has been leading a charge of note for the motoring press. They know this, and for the broader press they should know this, into powering green motor racing cars. And he now has an electric LMP car, which is amazing, and we're very lucky to have him as a patron of our technology park at Auto Legends, and he's very kindly agreed to come and say a couple of words.
Thank you very much, Max, and I am absolutely delighted to be here for this fantastic celebration of the world of cars. And we've seen from the beautiful machinery that are outside on the lawn already the quality that this show is going to represent. But I think it's important to stress it's not just about the past, fantastic as that is with some of the Le Mans machinery that's outside there today. It's also about the present and, I think most importantly, the future. The British car industry is really on a high at the moment, getting stronger and stronger. And that's in part because of the strength of the science and engineering that we have here in this country, and why I'm absolutely delighted that Chelsea Auto Legends have decided to set up this Techno Park, to have the opportunity to be the patron of the Techno Park, because motorsport has always pushed innovation, has always tried new things. And many of you may not know that the first time a rear view mirror was used was at Indianapolis on a racing car. First time disc brakes on Jaguars at Le Mans. And that continues today, pushing innovation, trying new things. And the most important thing we need to do is to make the green and clean cars that we need for the future exciting and attractive to people. So that's why we've brought today our biofueled Aston Martin Le Mans car, which is parked outside, and why in September we're going to be here with our electric prototype car. That's a 200 mile an hour all-electric car with some fantastic new technology of wireless charging, structural batteries in the composites, regenerative dampers, really showcasing what British science and engineering is doing today in the field of motorsport and car engineering, which I think gives people an opportunity to see that side of cars, and why having the IMEC here and Formula Student here is another great opportunity for people to get to see some of the work that's being done by people at the cutting edge of motorsport, and see what an exciting opportunity that may be for a career, and to motivate young people to do their science homework, to get interested in science and engineering. That's what got me into science and engineering, growing up near Brands Hatch, getting excited about the fantastic machinery I saw there. Really congratulate Chelsea Auto Legends staging this show, bringing the best of the old and the new together for us all to enjoy. Thank you.
For those that don't know me, I'm Max Wakefield. I'm the Managing Director of Chelsea Auto Legends, and thank you to everyone who's spoken before me. They've got so much of this show about them, and that's why we're here. Cecil Rhodes said, "To be born English is to win first prize in the lottery of life." And what a great year to be British. What a great summer of celebrations. We've got the Jubilee going up the river. We've got the Olympics, and we have our own Chelsea Auto Legends motor racing show. Our industry brings billions to the country. We employ tens of thousands. In fact, there are 25,000 people with motor racing licenses. And you'll be hard to name a few because we seem to do it behind a curtain somewhere, in some dust-blown track in the middle of nowhere. And that's why we thought, let's bring motor racing to London. Let's show London what motor racing is about, so that families can come and see it, and so that people can enjoy it. And perhaps one day in the future, some child will say to us, "I took up motor racing because you showed me cars." And if they say that, then all of this will have been worthwhile. And why are we so good at motor racing? Because we're British, and we fight and we win. But the fight is not always about sport. And I think we're standing here in the Royal Hospital. We should realise that the fight is sometimes a good deal more serious than that. The fight is a job for the armed forces. And I'm therefore passionate, because I was a soldier and I have been to a war. I am passionate about the Royal Hospital and walking with the wounded. And there's no time to kick lanterns and tell you war stories, but I will tell you, when you're standing in front of your soldiers, as I have done, and you're pointing to the enemy just over there, and you say it's time to go, they may look at their hands, and they may scuff the ground with their feet, and they may smoke a cigarette in one long drag. But they never say, no boss. They just do it, because they know what a war is about. A war is about the line, it's about a line. That's what wars are about. You may think it's a line between an invading force and you sitting here nervously wondering, but in fact it's now about a political line, and sometimes it's very hard to hold the line when you don't necessarily believe in it. But these are professionals who go about their job on a daily basis holding that line. And so who holds the line now? It's you guys, the journalists. And we have the Walking with the Wounded here, and I want you to give them the oxygen they need to continue what they're doing. A brilliant new charity is enthusing wounded soldiers, getting them out, getting them onto mountains to enthuse other wounded soldiers to see what is possible. And their message is pretty simple. It's pick up your bed and walk and lead your life. And the Royal Hospital is here in those sunset years to give you a bed when you need it. And so I feel very passionately about that. And I was proud to be a part of it, and you as journalists should be proud to be a part of this. So what have we done? We've put a motor racing show on the grounds to be a conduit for this effort. And I think you can see from outside that I shouldn't need to talk too much about the future, about what we're going to provide at Chelsea Auto Legends in 2012, for you to be absolutely confident that we're going to bring you the very best cars, the very best racing cars, the very best amusing cars, motorcycles, things for children to see and do, things to buy, things to go and amuse yourselves with. But the answer comes down to this: why motor racing and why also the armed forces? And it's quite straightforward, because we both fight and we both win, and I want you to be there and be a part of it. Thank you very much. I think it's important now that you hear from someone who has been part of the Walking Wounded programme. They'd come up and tell me what you're saying.
Hi there, good morning. Thank you very much to Max and the Chelsea Auto Legends, and also to the Royal Hospital here for hosting us. My name is Captain David Wiseman. I'm a serving officer in the Yorkshire Regiment in the British Army Infantry. I've served in both Iraq and Afghanistan, and unfortunately in 2009 on my last tour of Afghanistan I was involved in a firefight with the Taliban, and during that firefight I was shot in the chest. The round entered high up here in my shoulder, travelled down through my body, rattled around my rib cage for a bit, and is now lodged in my ribs about halfway down my back. It caused paralysis down my right side and in my right arm for a number of months, and only after a number of operations on the nerves in my chest and running down my arm have I got used to that arm back, thankfully. Whilst I was in that recovery process, I watched four other wounded soldiers, remarkable young men, walk to the North Pole with Walking with the Wounded. It was the first expedition. Also along with Prince Harry on that exped. I saw them do that expedition, and that truly inspired me and motivated me and drove me to want to get involved and to do something of that ilk in order to help those who've been less fortunate, both in terms of recovery and also in terms of educational background, less fortunate than myself. Why I say that is because Walking with the Wounded, what we aim to do is raise finances in order to reskill and retrain wounded soldiers once they've been medically discharged from the army, so that they can get them back into the workplace. So after being motivated by seeing these guys walk to the North Pole, I got involved in the next expedition, and for the past year I've been involved in mountaineering with Walking with the Wounded. We've done 2 small expeditions to the European Alps, including climbing the highest mountain in Italy. Last year we climbed the 8th highest mountain in the world, successfully summited last October. That's Mount Manaslu in Nepal. And 10 days ago we got back from Nepal on our second expedition to the Himalayas, where we made an attempt on Mount Everest, on the summit of Mount Everest. Unfortunately we didn't make the summit this time, but hopefully it will still serve as an example to other wounded soldiers and hopefully inspire them as it inspired me to, as Max said, get out of your bed and walk with it. But we can only do that with your support. So please just get the message out there that, you know, walking with the wounded, trying to bring guys back to life, back into the workplace. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave. I think he's been very modest about his injuries. There are a couple more things, features that we'll be doing. Castrol is sponsoring Women in Motorsport, and you'll see them, I hope, a couple of them outside, including Jodie Kidd. And the French in London are hopefully coming in force to Chelsea Auto Legends, so we'll have a very genuine French feel on the Le Mans straight. Something special to look forward to. Thank you very much for coming today. Go outside, enjoy the weather, enjoy the cars.